Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If you're staying a little while, welcome. You might like to come in because the door will be opening and you'll get hit by the door.
Maharaj, we came to pay your obeisance.
Pardon?
Namaste. We came to take your darshans, Maharaj. We were going to Govinda Maharaj's. And we got
Oh, you're going for kirtan?
Yes.
At Govinda Maharaj's ashram?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
We got some service there.
We have service and kirtan. Wonderful. Thank you. Well, give some prasad. Bring the box of prasad quickly. You were staying here in this building,
Yes,
is it? Where are you staying? Just there?
352 upstairs.
Huh? Upstairs?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Where are you from?
From Sydney.
Maharaj, we met you in Sydney.
Sydney. You're from Sydney.
Krishna Das Maharaj's disciple.
Krishna Das Maharaj. Wonderful. Hare Krishna. Wonderful. Take a picture of Lord Nityananda on your journeys.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bo. We'll keep it there.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you. Wonderful to see you. Hey, give them some of that scent. Yeah. It's 3 days. This is the third day today. So still, fragrance is still there.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Have a great time at Govinda Maharaj. BB Govinda Maharaj? You're going for the kirtan, are you? 5 minutes from here. Between here and the mandir. Between here. Halfway. Don't tell them. There'll be nobody left here if you tell them where it is. They'll all disappear. Come on, you'll all go away. Nobody will stay here. It'll just be you and me, and that'll be it. We can have all the milk to ourselves. Maybe you don't get cow's milk at BB Govinda Maharaj's. Here we get fresh cow's milk from the cows downstairs.
Different ras. This is ras. Many ras.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare
Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Premanandi, Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Any news on the books?
The books are in front.
They're in front of the door. Someone came with you?
No.
You carried them all yourself?
I took the rickshaw.
Pardon? Oh, you took the rickshaw. You came up the lift? Did you notice? Yeah, there's a lift just on the left here. Oh boy, he just bought about 50 kilos of books on his own.
I think you can live without it because you can live without it.
No one will steal.
Pardon?
No one will take the book.
Do you think anyone will pinch them out there?
No, I don't think it's okay.
Pardon?
I think it's okay.
Should be okay.
Where they are outside of the gate, yeah?
No, just here.
They'll be alright there?
Honestly, like monkey may do, but I didn't see much monkey activity.
Monkeys may read the books.
They can do something they can do. The monks, something. But
Well, they have.
not on regular.
We were staying, long time ago, we were staying in one Kund. I can't remember what it's called, but it's behind the MVT, I don't even know, I think it was there. There's one ashram just next to what was now the MVT. We were staying there and someone left the grill open on the window. We went out, we came back, and the monkeys had taken all of our books like this and ripped them in half. The books from the bookshelf, they just ripped them in half. Strange, huh? It's not like they get anything out of it. It's not, you know what I mean?
Naughty.
There's no naughty. They're just by nature. They're mischievous. It's their business. What to do? So yes, a good question. What to do? That's the question. That's the main question, isn't it? What to do? What to do? Burjam Prose. What to do? Dilemma. What to do? Prabhupada said also one time. Dilemma. What to do?
Now he's doing his retreat now, I think. 2nd, 3rd, up to 4 in Governor.
No, they start on what date you girls are going?
10.
They start on
No,
the 10th.
He's his own one.
Who?
Burijan now.
Where?
In ISKCON Retreat Center, yeah.
Is he? What's it on? What's it all about?
Yes.
What's it about?
Yes, he's
Tell us something. Maybe the VIHE or something.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, this one.
Everyone's retreating.
Yeah.
They're all retreating from the battlefield. Huh? So many retreats. What to do? Sometimes.
You will not come even one day for the Japa retreat?
Yeah, we're going to come 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
Well, we're planning to.
1 to 4, Burijan.
1 to 4?
Well, that's already over.
Yeah, digital free time for japa, sastra, kirtan.
What's it about?
It was a Governor Retreat Center, 4-day retreat with
Subject.
new things.
Huh?
New things this year.
Subject. What's the subject matter?
Topics was a digital free time for japa, sastra. Digital free means no mobile and so on.
Digital free.
Yeah. Free, I don't know. The breed is free.
No mobile phones and
Yeah, digital
stuff
free.
like that. There's still 1 day left, Emil.
Yeah.
He's not listening.
1 day left for what?
For the digital free Japa retreat. No mobiles. Okay? No electronic appliances. What to do? Definitely. It's a challenge, no doubt about that.
It's not disturbing for you, Maharaj, if we take notes with our phone.
No, I don't. It doesn't worry me, but that's, at the Japa retreat, you're not allowed to have a mobile.
Really?
No. We're not supposed to take mobiles in, were we?
Last time I went, there was everyone had.
They didn't check. But they do request you to keep your mobile at home. No one's forced. But it's best to keep it at a distance while you're chanting japa at least. Got some kind of cramp in my feet. Yeah. Okay, let's read something. I don't know what's happened. My foot's gone sort of stiff. It's gone stiff and there's like a cramp,
Yeah.
Can't move the toes at the moment. What to do? Huh? No, it'll go away after a while. Just Let's read something. We'll read something.
Yes.
Okay.
What should we read?
Krishna book.
All the books are Krishna books. What should we read?
Krishna told me when I was visiting Vrindavan, chapter 47, Krishna book.
What number?
47.
47.
46, I think 47.
Huh? Somewhere.
When I was visiting Vrindavan.
Okay, bring the computer. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Krishnaya Huh?
Vasudevaya.
Devaki Nandanaya Cha Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Krishnaya Vasudevaya Nanda Gopa Gomaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nanda Gopa Gomaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Gomaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nanda Gopa Gomaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nanda Gopa Gomaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Gomaraya Govindaya Namo Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Krishnaya Vasudevaya Naya Cha Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Louder, 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 hey, louder. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, O Rama, Hare Hare. Go Premanandi, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So read from Krishna book, chapter
Uddhava visit Vrindavan, chapter 46.
Uddhava, not Krishna.
Krishna is expected, but still.
We want to hear about Krishna visiting Vrindavan.
He's there inside, they're crying that Krishna.
But they're feeling separation.
Yeah, they're seeing Krishna, but you cannot.
You know what that is?
No.
The gopis and all the gopas, they're all feeling separation, right? The cows, everyone's feeling separation. But why doesn't Krishna go? He sends Uddhava. That's not fair. He should go himself.
Yes.
Because he would never come back, you could say. Separation. Which is the higher, separation or meeting?
Separation.
Which is the higher, separation or meeting?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu separation.
Meeting. Which is the higher, separation or meeting? Separation. Which is the higher, separation or meeting? Meeting. Which is the higher, separation or meeting? Separation. They're ever increasing. The anticipation ever increases. The ecstasy ever increases. Periods of separation. Instead, you can never really appreciate meeting unless you experience separation. Or let's say you can never experience the actual pleasure of meeting unless you experience the separation or being together. So the primary one, of course, is meeting. The mood of, well, let's say the position of separation is not like the ultimate goal to remain forever separated. The goal is to meet, but it's all part of that intensifying the ecstasy of meeting. And the ecstasy of separation, the anticipation, is said to be higher than that of meeting. But then when you meet, then the pleasure of meeting excels any other experience. So they're ever increasing. In one sense, the separation is the leader in the chase. The highest ecstasy is experienced in separation from Krishna. But it's only there to enhance, in one sense, to enhance the pleasure that they get from meeting. So I don't know how much that's going to be relieved when Uddhava comes to Vrindavan. Well, I'm going to read from the Bhagavatam. Do you mind?
Yeah.
10th canto. Of course, I wanted to get the Saratadarshini, but I didn't get it today. They don't have it here. You have to go down to Rasa Bihari Lal's shop, I think.
You want to...
You have one in your room, Saratadarshini?
No, I have in Kindle edition here.
Do you? You can get it in Kindle, can you?
Yeah.
You have to pay for it, I guess.
Yeah, you can play, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't
If you
got
want
that.
to read,
Well, it's the commentaries on the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam it's all connected. I mean, Prabhupada's Krishna book, his translations of the first 13 chapters, I mean, they incorporate the, let's say, relevant points.
Yeah, some points are not there.
Many points are not there. Now, Prabhupada, gave a complete picture of what was required. The commentaries of the remainder of the chapter of the 10th canto are very slim. There's not much commentary at all in our Bhagavatam, but when you look in some of the Acharya's commentaries, they can be very, very long, and sometimes they're completely omitted from our Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's a shame, and I think, of course, they are in print now. The commentaries of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur you can access, but anyway, it's not a major need at this moment of time. But let's go to the Srimad Bhagavatam. Here we are. 10th canto.
46th chapter.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10. Chapter number?
46.
Oh,
Uddhava visit Vrindavan.
Uddhava visiting Vrindavan.
Anyway, in case Maharaj want to ask, I have the Sarvatadarsini.
Yeah, oh well, I'd like to read it side by side.
I can.
This chapter is Uddhava visits Vrindavan.
Yeah.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 We'll go straight into the verses. There's like a summary of the chapter is given. It's quite a long one. So we'll start with text 1. Shukadeva Goswami is speaking. What was the previous chapter? What was the previous chapter?
Yes, Krishna recovered the son of his teacher.
Previous chapter.
Yeah.
So Krishna is in Mathura. He is now, you could say, under the protection of his, sometimes they say real parents, sometimes they say his Mathura, the parents of Krishna in that mood, of Vasudeva and Devaki. Most people consider they're the actual parents of Krishna, which is not wrong in one sense, but it's not complete in another. Certainly Krishna was born. When we say born, or when we hear born, it's not so much like an ordinary child, obviously. Not like that. But he appeared. He appeared before Devaki and Vasudeva in the prison cell of Kamsa. And as you know, when he appeared, he appears a four-armed form, fully decorated and so on. God can do anything he likes. He doesn't have to go through the normal procedures of childbirth. So he appeared in that form, then he transformed on request into what looked like an ordinary child, baby. And then of course Vasudeva took the child across the river Yamuna to Gokul and replaced the child which Mother Yasoda had just given birth to, a baby girl. Replaced the boy with a baby girl and brought the baby girl back, and then of course the whole story unfolds. Kamsa's constant hunt for his killer, so to speak. And that's generally where the story, in brief, that's generally what people understand, and they don't usually see anything beyond that, which is probably, for most people, fair enough in one sense. And, there's no difference. That Krishna, this Krishna. So they say Mother Yasoda, Nanda Maharaj, foster parents, foster parents. That means they weren't the real parents. They were looking after the child by the arrangement of Vasudeva because of fear of Kamsa. But it's not a complete picture, is it? It's not complete. Complete picture, which in one sense speaks for itself, because again and again we hear Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. He's always in Vrindavan. What business does he have anywhere else? He always has his real business in Vrindavan, but he appears to leave. But as you may well have heard or know, according to the 10th canto Bhagavatam and the commentaries therein, and there are references which indicate it too in the Bhagavatam, although many things are kept a little confidential, because for people in general, certain things, even for devotees, are not clearly revealed, although Prabhupada does reveal this one in his purport, that actually Krishna appeared simultaneously to Vasudeva and Devaki. He also didn't appear exactly, but he appeared, but Yasoda was so tired she wasn't aware of it. Krishna appeared as her son, the son of Yasoda. So that son of Yasoda was not seen. Now there's by Vasudeva. Vasudeva didn't see him when he went there. Some say he's hidden. He was hidden, out of sight. He was not visible to Vasudeva. He only saw the girl. Another aspect of that is not particularly from the point of Vasudeva necessarily. In another sense, yes. That one who has, just like we heard about Lord Brahma, the Kaura boys, the one who has this mood of reverence is unable to really see the intimacy of Vraj Leela, or the pastimes of Krishna. It's not within their capacity. It's like Lakshmi Devi, she heard and became attracted to the Ras Leela. She wanted to enter, but she could not. Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, the consort of Lord Narayan, because she doesn't have the right mood. One of the underlying, we sometimes think, well, wait a minute, Krishna just went to Mathura. Now you can walk to Mathura. It's not very far. Of course, we can't say measuring, so to speak, in Krishna Lila, but in terms of, let's say, a practical approach, you can walk to Mathura. It's only a day's walk, not even that. Maybe, 4 hours to walk to Mathura? 4 hours? I mean, of course, we're only seeing on the surface here. But why they just don't go to Mathura? It's not far away. You go by horse, or didn't have rickshaws maybe, but some method or another you could go to Mathura. But they didn't. Because the mood is different. The mood is different. That Krishna Mathuras is Krishna. But it's the Krishna of Vasudeva and Devaki. It's not the Krishna of Nanda and Yasoda. He's in a different mood. It is not the same. They can't experience the loving exchanges with Krishna in that mood. It's the mood. It's not just a geographical place where you get a visa or a bus or something. It's the mood, it's the attitude. And the same with people in this world. They get along with each other, not necessarily just because of physical proximity, but because of their particular nature, svajati, that they have a certain nature which is compatible, as we were hearing from Nectar of Devotion yesterday. They have compatible natures. So it's not compatible for the gopis to be in Mathura. They can't live outside of Vrindavan. They can't. It's like a fish out of water. They can't exist. They have to be kept like a fish in a goldfish bowl. They're just out of place. It's like if you go to the moon, you can't live there. You've got to have a different. You've got to take your atmosphere with you, and then you can't really live in the moon. You're there physically, but you're not there in reality, because you don't have the right consciousness. So for the gopis, there's nothing on the gopas, the cows. There's nowhere but Vrindavan. There's nowhere but. It said that the Lord gave them a vision of Vaikuntha, huh? But they had no interest in it. It was like, didn't mean much to them. It's only Vrindavan, that's what they are. They're part, you can say they're personal parts of the Dham. They don't exist in Mathura. Dham's another Dham. There's some interactions between the two, but as far as the Gopas went to Mathura, along with Krishna and Balaram when the wrestling arena took place, but they didn't stay there. They stayed for some time. They couldn't really, relate to it. So their business is always in Mathura, in Vrindavan. They never leave. And Krishna's business is in Vrindavan. So the Krishna who went to Mathura it's the Krishna. As you may remember, when Akrura took Krishna and Balaram on his chariot, they came to the what's now known as Akrura Ghat on the river Yamuna, and there Akrura took his dip in the holy river Yamuna, and he saw in front of him the four-armed form of Balaram and of Krishna. Balaram was Anantashesh, and he was like astonished. Then he looked on the chariot and saw Krishna and Balaram still on the chariot. So naturally he was a little bit perplexed. But this is the line where Vrindavan Krishna goes no further, and Vasudev Krishna proceeds on. Although he looks like Vrindavan Krishna, he assumes the same form basically. But his mood is a little externally. His mood is different in Mathura than it is in Vrindavan. So this one aspect. When he went to Mathura, yes, he did. He took Brahmin initiation. And he went to the school of Sandipani Muni. He never got any education. Vaishyas generally had no education. In Vrindavan, he's a Vaishya. Vaishyas, even to this day, I don't know about this day, but the last generation, in India, many of the big industrial magnates had no education. They didn't go to school. Waste of time, complete waste of time. Waste of time. In fact, I think it was, who was it? One of the most successful people on the planet financially. He was addressing a big assembly. He wasn't invited back again in Harvard University of business students or something. And he said, if you really want to be successful, I suggest you give up your course right now. He spoke along those lines. You just become a robot in the system. Those people may have these degrees and this and that, but they don't need it. If you're a Vaishya, you're a Vaishya. You don't become a Vaishya. This is a fallacy. You can become a Vaishnava, but not a Vaishya. You have that in you. So in nature, you can't transform sugar into salt. Can you? It looks similar. Sometimes you make a mistake, right? You thought it was sugar and it was salt.
If it's white, yes.
Pardon?
Yes.
It happens. It's not very often, but it's quite common. I remember that happened to us in Sydney a few years ago. They thought it was icing sugar, it was citric acid. No, it was in the sweet. In the sweet. They wanted to put icing sugar, fine powder, but it was actually citric acid. And you can imagine what that tastes like. They look the same. It's absolutely inedible. What to do? So they look alike, but they're different. You can't become just by putting a label on or having a degree. You can't become a businessman if you're not a businessman. You can assist a businessman. You can work as a Shudra under some corporate or something. But a Vaishya is like, managing a corporate. He's not the person digging the gardens. He can do that too, but that's not his real business. Mostly it's the Shudras who do the work. Milking the cows, digging the land, ploughing the land. The Vaishya can also do that. He's the most expert, but basically he's the organizer of the economy. These are Vaishyas. They don't work like asses. And most people work like asses. When you find yourself working like an ass to achieve what you're doing, it's possibly an indication you're doing the wrong thing. Especially if you don't get the results. So many people, they take up business and they spend their whole life trying to make money. And they don't get anywhere hardly. You know, or they're teaching and they just wish they were never doing it. Most people are not at all satisfied because his Ugra Karma work is not surprising. But this principle is there. So as a Vaishya, I mean, Nanda Maharaj was a Vaishya, as a Vaishya community. King of the cowherds, and Krishna the prince, so he was a real Vaishya. And the brothers, and most of the other group, but they're all, special. But they're a Vaishya community. Their business is looking after cows. And there's no need for education. What education do you need to look after cows? Do you have to go to university to look after cows? Is it required? Now it is. You can't do anything these days unless you got the university stamp, isn't it? You can't even have people don't even have to have babies now. They have to have courses to how to have a baby. They don't know how to deliver babies. They don't know anything anymore. They're completely out of touch with nature. They don't know what's going on. But a natural thing. You saw your grandmother would deliver the baby. Generally the grandmother would deliver the daughter's baby, or the mother or grandmother, whichever way you're looking at, would deliver the children. Simple as that. There was no need. No need of going to hospital. Hospitals were unheard of. Going to hospital to have a child? When I was a kid, that only occurred if there was a really serious problem. Nobody went to hospital to get born when I was a kid in England. Only if there's a serious problem. Huh? Now everybody goes. Almost. So nobody learns anything. These things are they're passed on. You're born in a Vaishya family. From the 2 years old, you're out there milking the cows. Sangita, some of you know Sangita in New Mayapur. I have a picture on Gopastami of her milking the cows. And she's 3-4 years old. I've got a picture there of her milking the cows at New Mayapur. That's how it should be. Children automatically do these things from childhood. They're attracted to it. And they don't need all this education. And so there was no schools in Vrindavan. No universities, no seminars, no retreats. All these things are supposed to help us to realize that. They can be valuable to the extent they help us to realize our, real position. It can be very valuable. But when you realize your real position, there's no more need for it. No more need. But in Mathura, the mood's different. There's a strong tinge of, Aishwarya reverence, reverential. Rules and regulations, society rules. The cows rule in Vrindavan. Everything's around the cows. They're the rulers, basically, of Vrindavan, in many ways. But in Mathura, no. In Mathura, it's a different thing, The caste systems and, husbands and wives and position in society and so things. They're there in Vrindavan, but in a different way. They're taken more seriously. So because Vasudeva and Devaki, they're Kshatriyas, that means they're kings, queens. And so therefore Krishna was a prince. Nanda Maharaj was also called a king, but he was a king of the Vaishyas. Vasudeva was could have been, would be classified as a king in terms of normal terms, king over the state. So he wanted to have his children. It's traditional that a child, when they're about anything from, I suppose, 6 to 10 years old or something, they take Upanayam, second initiation. Vaishyas also quite often do, but they had no interest in that in Vrindavan. Their only interest was the cows. Cows. So in Mathura, Vasudeva wanted to have his children educated. They were ignorant. They were ignorant, right? So he wanted to have them educated. Are you going to forgive me if I go to the previous chapter? Will you forgive me or not?
Next time you speak.
You don't mind if I go to the previous chapter? Because it's very close to what you said, so I'll go to the previous chapter if you're following us. And this is chapter 45. This is shortly after Kamsa has been killed. And I'm sure you're familiar with Kamsa. So I'll start with text number 1. Sukadeva Goswami is speaking to Parikshit Maharaj. Understanding that his parents were becoming aware of his transcendental opulences, the Supreme Personality of Godhead thought that this should not be allowed to happen. Thus he expanded his yogamaya, which bewilders his devotees. So sometimes, especially outside of Vrindavan, Krishna manifests, you could say, godly. He does in Vrindavan too, you could say, in one sense. But more so in the sense that it's kind of like a mighty, almighty God. Usually when Krishna kills a demon in Vrindavan, they think that, Lord Vishnu is protecting our son, or it was actually Nanda Maharaj who was holding up Govardhan Hill, or, whatever it was. And then sometimes they think, well, maybe Krishna is very special. Garga Muni said he was not an ordinary child, and so on. But their main thrust is that Krishna he's their little boy. There's no question of him being, in the mood of God, so to speak. But a little bit more in Mathura, he manifests that opulence aspect of himself, the godliness or whatever. But here, Krishna's thinking this shouldn't be allowed, otherwise my relationship with Devaki and Vasudeva will be tarred with this mood of reverence, which is not going to be very favorable for parental love. Reverence in parental love, at least from the parent's point of view, is not compatible. Even if your son is the high court judge or the president of America, when they come in front of their parents, for the parents to show reverence to their children is incompatible, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yes.
You might be the president of America. When you come home, does mother treat you like the prime president of America? Not at all. Where have you been? Sit down. Your apple pie is in the oven. Sit down. Sit over there. That's your favorite chair. Don't you remember? No. Yes, mother. He's the prime minister or president. But there's no mood there of reverence. The son to the daughter, to the mother maybe, a little bit. But even then it's not that kind of reverence. Respect rather than reverence, is there? Understanding his parents, we read them. Thus he expanded his yogamaya, which bewilders his devotees, so they forget. They immediately forget. This is another aspect of Krishna Leelas, that these separation and meeting and all these various apparent changes that continually take place make the pastimes ever fresh. The same pastime becomes, seemingly the same pastime, becomes ever fresh. Have you ever noticed children sometimes, they do the same thing over and over again? Kids playing around outside particularly. Some game of some kind of, not so much with modern, they always want a new one nowadays, isn't it? Every 5 minutes they want a new gadget, new toy. But before, they often played the same thing over and over again. Of course, there's a slightly different relationship and interaction, but basically the same thing. And they're not getting bored either. It's quite, nowadays they get bored in no time with these external toys and gadgets and what have you. Because they're so unnatural. But previously kids didn't have toys, or very few. And they were very satisfied playing around in the bushes and the trees, hide and seek or whatever it is. They do it over and over again. It never becomes dry when you're a kid. And when you grow up a little bit, it does, because it doesn't appeal to you anymore. Your interest is something else. But in the spiritual world, it's like that. They actually completely, Yoga Maya makes them completely forget that they just did that. Just imagine you're sitting there at the dinner table, and there's gulab jamuns. What else, Madhavi? What other delicacies are at the dinner table? Gulab jamuns, samosas, pardon? Rasgullas. That's kind of gulab jamun also. What else? Rasmalai, all kinds of sweets. And when you see that, what do you feel? When you go to the Sunday feast, you see there's that the sweet rice has been cooked by the devotee who's best at cooking sweet rice. You can almost take it through your nostrils. And there's beautiful gulab jamuns. They look like, almost like floating in completely, the sugar water is completely, it's not like you bite into them, they're hard in the inside sometimes. It's uncooked. Quite often that happens, they do it so quick. On the outside is spongy, the 3/4 is like, dough. Same with the puris, 90% they're like dough. Oh, many times, even a few weeks ago, I don't know, it's New Mayapur somewhere, I took the puri that they were serving and squashed it into a ball. It was just like a lump of dough. I said, fry it again. I've done that before. They don't know how to cook them, They roll them too thick, and then they cook them on a high temperature, and just the outside goes boop, but the inside is like this thick of dough. This little tiny sliver of puffs up on the outside. And the other extreme is they're soaking in oil, they're this dripping oil puri or something, They use oil nowadays. We're supposed to be more opulent now. When I joined the movement, the very word or thought of using oil was like a maha aparad. We would never use oil to cook. Never. Not for the Sunday feast or anything. We had no money, but some or other, we were followers of Chavaka Pandit? Beg, borrow, or steal, but some or other get ghee. Chavaka. Some or other ghee would come. We only use ghee for cooking. Or nothing at all. You can cook without anything if you have nothing also. It is possible. But we never use oil. Never. And now they use oil. Much of the time for the Sunday feast they're cooking oil. Many places. Like Paris they also do it. It's really low class. Very low class in terms of, serving Krishna. There are different grades of oil. But, imagine there's a beautiful halava, steaming hot, puffed up. You can see the raisins are glistening, and the whole thing is glistening, there's steam coming off of it. Nice, cool, sweet rice with beautiful football-like puris. We used to line them up in the boxes so they wouldn't crush each other. If it was, we used to be able to cook like 200 puris with about how much ghee? Not more than that much ghee. Less than that. I mean, there'd be more ghee in the wok, but you wouldn't use more than that. And the ghee would be completely clean at the end of it. You could easily recycle it. Now, oftentimes the ghee is like black when you finish, like full of dust. You never roll puris in flour. Nowadays, devotees have started rolling puris in flour. That's what makes the ghee go, all murky, all like, can't see it. It's all dirty. Anyway, all these different things. Imagine you're lined up there. How do you feel? You see all your favorite preparations, and you're the first in the queue for prasadam. How will you feel? Whoa, isn't it? So attracted, isn't it? So attracted. You won't be able to resist it. Your mouth will be watering. You'll be looking forward to enjoying those gulab jamans and the sweet rice and puris and halava with, fruit salad or whatever it is. Different preparations. The pushpan rice with mahabrinjal. The samosas with tomato chutney. You want first class cooked. Everything first class. You'll be very, very attracted. I don't know, how did we get onto that? How did I get onto this topic? What were we discussing before? Test of your memories. I can't remember. Pardon?
You were speaking about the Vaishya.
President of America.
Huh?
Who eat the tart.
What did you say?
The president of America who was eating pie from his mother.
Pie?
Hi.
Apple pie.
Apple pie. Yeah, well, I could use that as an example, but that wasn't really where I was going there, was it?
It was something else in the middle.
Oh.
Anyway, I mean, you can give an example of that, but it's not really where I was planning to go, where I got carried away. I got carried away thinking of all these wonderful preparations, excited.
It was about the mood, Maharaj, the mood.
The mood, yeah, we were talking about the mood. Yeah. But I still don't know how that's related to Vrindavan mood, the Mathura mood. Anyway, you could say something related to that. Imagine you bite into the gulab jamun and it's bitter. It's bitter, completely bitter. Or the drink is like, sour. And the sabji is so salty. It's like they put more salt in than they did sabji. It's a pretty big it's a disappointment, isn't it? You're all excited and then one thing after another, they're all out to lunch, The chutney is so spicy you can't get it within 6 inches of your mouth, It's like the fire is coming out of it, even from here. You're starting to cry and sneeze. And the samosas are like rock hard or something. You can't bite. It's like, it would be rather a anticlimax. Anyway, I don't know why. It has nothing to do with what I say. I'll just read on because I've forgotten the train of thought.
Talking about going against the nature, like salt can become the sugar.
Yeah, we said too many things. We'll keep the point. If Vasudeva and Devaki would have seen Krishna as Almighty God, their intense love for him as their son would have been spoiled. Lord Krishna did not want this. Rather, the Lord wanted to enjoy with them the ecstatic love of Vatsalya Bhav or Vatsalya Rasa. If you don't know what Vatsalya, it means parental, loving affection. The relationship between parents and children. As Srila Prabhupada often pointed out, although we normally think of God as the Supreme Father, in Krishna consciousness we can enter into the Lord's pastimes and play the part of his parents, thus intensifying our love for him. Isn't that amazing? Most people think, well, it's true, it's not untrue. We're all children of God, isn't it? Didn't Krishna say that in the Bhagavad Gita? He's the Father of all living beings. Whatever it is. So that's not wrong, but here we see something very unusual. I don't know what people, how they can understand or not, but that, service. Our relationship with Godhead is service, that which pleases God, or Krishna. The actual yardstick or testing factor, sometimes I was listening the other day to a lecture, and the devotee was saying that, sometimes they say, I want to go back to Godhead, I want to be liberated, I want to get out of this world. It's not unusual that you have those type of feelings. It may be born of something you heard, it may be born of some suffering we're going through, some conclusion that we've reached, some statement of Srila Prabhupada. But the topmost thing is that whatever you want, my Lord. If you want me to stay here, or you want me to go back to Godhead, our business is just to do what Krishna wants. Isn't it? He wants me to stay here. It's not that, no, I want to go back to Godhead. But that you're supposed to be my part and parcel, you're supposed to be my unalloyed servant. But you're always putting so many demands. I want this, I want that. Give me this, give me that. And the same with a child. A child is always dependent on the parents. It's a fact, it's a stage. Krishna had children in Dwarka. And as children, naturally, like any other children, they were relationship with their father was like anyone else, basically, or transcendental, but the mood. But a higher mood is the mood of service, where you give service. You're always thinking of the welfare of Krishna, not that Krishna look after my welfare. Basically, most people are thinking God should look after my welfare, isn't it? He should look after me. Okay, that's Krishna conscious, but it's not very elevated state of consciousness. More elevated state of consciousness is, no, we can't imitate this. We do with deity worship, by the way. Follow, we don't imitate. Don't imitate, we follow the standard given for deity worship, isn't it? It is a forum where we're actually doing that. I mean, you wouldn't normally do that, offer incense, flower, water, handkerchief. It means nothing to us. It seems to mean nothing to Krishna either. But these are for pleasing Krishna. If that's what it was. If you have a child, then the child wants something, okay, you may or may not give it, but you're definitely not going to completely ignore that, and you're not going to give him things he doesn't like, purposely. Generally, the parents try to satisfy the child, isn't it? I mean, up to a point. Obviously, there's certain conditions there, but they try to satisfy the child's needs. It's only natural. And his needs may be different to the other child. You may have 3 children. Madhavi, you've got 3 kids. They're all different, right?
They're all different.
Quite different, aren't they? You should see her children. They're amazing. You know her children. Some of you know Achyuta Madhava. You remember him from last year. He was looking after the book room last year. Short Indian devotee in the book room. You remember him, don't you? That's Madhava's son. But he's a lawyer, becoming a lawyer. And we don't know what Vrinda's going to do yet, do we? Does she know?
She's
besides being naughty, huh? She's studying law.
Yeah. She has to compete with Keshav.
She wants to do law, does she? Okay. She'll be a good lawyer, I think. You won't get past her when she gets on that bench, I'll tell you. You can say what you like, she's not going to budge an inch, She's like a rock, Decision final, bang! Next one! Look, no buts. Out. And the other one, of course, Nitai is Nitai. He's going to be Nitai his whole life, and he's the most lovable person. He's different, completely different. Although you're the same family, so you have to treat them a little differently, don't you? Everyone's a little different. Right, no 2 people are the same, exactly. So Krishna does, of course, relate to us all, but this mood of bringing pleasure to Krishna, this is bhakti, isn't it? Bhakti is not all about asking God. We do also do that because we're in the preliminary stages. The advanced stage, the devotee may not even ask the Lord for protection. They may under certain conditions, but not as a general principle. They know the Lord is dealing with them accordingly. They have absolute faith in the Lord's, reciprocation. In the neophyte stage, we're more inclined to save me, God save me, please God give me this, or whatever it is. The general state. So that's more of a begging state, like being a beggar. People are like more or less beggars in society, you could say. But the devotee doesn't want to do that. He wants to provide. Although the Lord doesn't need anything, he's full in himself. But it's the mood. It's the mood I want. It's like when the Govardhan hill was lifted, all the residents, all the Gopas particularly, they all wanted to take over from Krishna. They were thinking, Krishna's lifting this hill up on left hand, left finger, whatever it is, for so many days, and then they were trying to think they're taking over, putting their sticks up there to try to hold the mountain and everything. They want to serve. Even Govardhan was not being held by Krishna. In one sense he was, in one sense he wasn't. It was Govardhan itself that wanted to remain like that for 7 days. It was his long cherished desire to give service to Krishna. And the hill on its own rendition, because it's non-different than Krishna, simply rose by the will by its own will in one sense. It wasn't like Krishna was stood there, flexing his muscles for 7 days, holding up 50 billion ton mountain or something. He wasn't doing that. People may imagine this is like that, but that's not how it works. And we have no spiritual concept, no idea of God's, let's say, opulences, if you want to call it that. Unlimited opulences, isn't it? He can do anything he likes. We try to put limits on him. How this is ridiculous. How can God do that? People say like that. Isn't it weird? But what's the nature of God? Do you mean to say is there something God can't do? Is he? Well, what does? I don't know what they say. Yes, maybe not. But God can do anything he likes. That's the nature of God. I mean, he's created this whole universe. That's pretty far out, isn't it? He created this human body. That's pretty far out. I often wonder why he's created such a complicated human body. It's so complex, isn't it? It's so complex. Why so complicated? Why not just make a simple thing without all this complexity? Why not? Karma is amazing, huh? Some organisms are a little simpler, but the human body is very complex, isn't it, Dayanatai? Extremely complex. It's all going on. There's a whole system going on in there beyond our knowledge, beyond our awareness. When you cut yourself, if you do that, don't do it. But if you have cut yourself, immediately, without a thought, there's like a trigger goes off in the system, and certain chemicals are immediately sent to that cut to try to repair the cut. It happens automatically. You're thinking about it when it happens? We've been cut. Okay, chemicals 1, 6, 4, 5, 8, 9, 3 combined with 2, 6, 7, 8, 4. Get ready now, quickly catch the train, quickly get there as quickly as possible. It's the left finger, the right finger, right hand, what do we call this? What do you call this? What's it? Index. The index finger, second joint. You don't do anything, do you? You just look for some sticky, elastoplast or something. That's all we can say. But what's going on inside the body is a whole different thing. It's out of our control. We're not controlling that. Completely out of our control. It's a super soul. Totally. Most of the things, digestion. When you chew something, it goes in the stomach. Are you kind of like, hold on, I just got to check out with my stomach if the right acid's turned up today for lunch, Hey guys, you're the wrong ones. You're meant to come for breakfast. Today, this is lunch now. Go back in your cave. Oh, you guys, come over here. Come on, you're the ones to digest this gulab jamun. We don't think at all. You may take some medicine to assist in, we think, but it's really nothing. We don't know what's going on. The heart pumping away there. Are you like constantly thinking, pump, pump, come on, pump, 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 pump? No. Not at all, are we? It's all going on beyond us. It's incredible. This itself is inconceivable, practically. So, for Krishna to lift a mountain is nothing, in one sense. But for, frogs in wells, or for persons who are very, very much on the bodily platform of life, these things are very hard to understand. As Srila Prabhupada often pointed out, although we normally think of God as the Supreme Father, In Krishna consciousness, we can enter into the Lord's pastimes and play the part of his parents, thus intensifying the parents' love for a child. Child has love for the parents, but he doesn't have the same kind of degree of, he takes it for granted almost. He takes the parents for granted practically, isn't it? He expects them to provide, It's normal. But for the parents, they're always conscious of their children. They're always wondering how to serve my child, how to look after my child. This is the mood of Vatsalya Bhav. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out that the word jana may be translated here as devotees, as in the verse Diyamanam Nagrinanti Vinamat Sevanam Janaha. He further explains that jana may also be translated as parents, since jana is derived from the verb jan, which is the causative form. Janayate means to generate or to give birth to. This is where Hridayananda Maharaj's Sanskrit attraction comes in. In this sense of the word, as in Janani or Janakau, the term Janamohini indicates that the Lord was about to expand his internal illusory potency so that Vasudeva and Devaki would again love him as their dear child. Of course, behind all of this is not just the devotee's desire to serve Krishna in this way, is that Krishna wants this. He relishes this much more than the position of being God or, the Almighty, the Father or the Master or whatever it is. That's also there for those who have that relationship, but he relishes much more. Even in a material world, normally, in a normal situation, a man may have many relationships with friends, with those who are working under them if they're in a management position, with friends, but the relationship with the parents is much more intimate and much more pleasing. I say in an ordinary situation, obviously not in every situation, but an ordinary, normal situation. And even more pleasing than that is the relationship with if you actually ever have a beloved lover or lover, is the most intimate of all. Very intimate. So they're there in the material world also, and that's there in the spiritual world too. All the rasas of this world only exist because they're there in the spiritual world. We were reading yesterday, I don't know if we were reading during this program, but we were reading a lot last night about compatible and incompatible rasas in the nectar of devotion, and how relevant they are to the situation of this world. It's basically transcendental psychology, basically, which has descended into this world as a very complicated, mess. People are so incompatible in so many ways with their own nature, interacting with others who they're not interacting in a compatible way. They have partners who are not compatible. They're doing jobs which are not compatible. They're eating food which is not compatible. So many things. They're living in a place which is not compatible. There's not much which is compatible when you really get down to it. I mean, look at the atmosphere we're living in. It's certainly not compatible. I mean, I just noticed that the, what do they call it, UV index or something? I don't know what it's called. About how clean the atmosphere is, very dirty, not healthy at all, incompatible. So many things are incompatible, but they're part of life, And all this means distress, anxiety, disturbance, eating so much food which is really not at all compatible to the human body. I don't just mean from the point of view of taste, or even necessarily in the point of the type of food you should be eating, but the mere fact that it's been meddled with so many times through processing and this, that, the other, the food is no longer compatible to the human body's digestive enzymes and so on. Very difficult. And there's so many things, like we're wearing incompatible clothes sometimes, isn't it? What do you think, Dial?
About the clothes?
About everything.
Compatible.
Everything, almost everything, even all the electronics that we have is artificial. It's not compatible to the soul. All the electronic gadgets that we've become so completely, almost like, I don't say addicted, but completely kind of part and parcel of the daily life that we live, is ultimately incompatible to the soul. It's artificial, as you say, external. So it's a very difficult situation, very difficult. So compatibility, and in Vatsalya Bhav, obviously, the child, if he has this, or the parents rather, if they have this reverential feeling towards their child, it's incompatible to Vatsalya Bhav. Incompatible. Even the child having over-reverential, you may have respect, but if it becomes reverential, then the relationship, there'll be kind of a standoffish kind of a mentality, you know what I mean? Sometimes that happens. But it's supposed to be free-flow relationship, free flow, without any kind of holdback or inhibitions. There should be as love there's no obstacles in the way. Love is free flow. It's totally natural, compatible. And you find yourself sometimes in situations where you feel that. You have this kind of free, you feel completely free with someone. Have you ever had that? You're with someone, you never met them before, but you feel you can reveal everything to them. It sometimes happens. You can just feel this person, you've told me that a few times, you meet someone, it's as if you're old friends or something, you immediately click with each other. Isn't it? You speak.
Compatibility with the person.
Very much so. And you feel very comfortable, and you want to, you can reveal anything. It's like you're not afraid. When you're a little afraid sometimes to say something to somebody, there's a little incompatibility there. To say a little bit, but not too much, Or say something different just to keep them away or something like that. Get rid of them or whatever it is. It's incompatible. The whole world is like this. Countries, religions, nations, people, genders even. Isn't it? Different races. So many things. Incompatible. Lord Krishna, the greatest of the Satpatas, approached his parents with his elder brother, humbly bowing his head and gratifying them by respectfully addressing them as my dear mother, my dear father. Krishna spoke as follows. Tell me if there's any commentary on these verses. It's number 2.
In this Vishwanath Chakravarti.
Some of my favorite commentaries in the 10th canto are not mentioned in our Bhagavatam.
Yeah, I reached that.
Text 2? Any?
I was, that was, okay, 2. Yes. No comment on 2, on sloka number 2. There is comment on number 3.
Yeah, we have a comment here, so let's see how it goes. Dear Father, because of us, your 2 sons, you and Mother Devaki always remained in anxiety and could never enjoy our childhood, boyhood, or youth. They were in very much anxious separation, you can see. Purport. And he says here, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti discusses this verse as follows. One may object that at this point Lord Krishna had not actually passed the Kaishore age, aged 10 to 15, since the women of Mathura had stated, Kvachati Sukamarango Kishoro Napta Yovano. Krishna and Balaram have very tender limbs, being still at the Kishore age, not having reached adolescence. So when they went to Mathura, they were still very young. They were children still. Of course, that's another topic where we've heard about space having, we try to measure space and we try to measure time as well. But space is immeasurable from the absolute platform, and so is time. So it's not a matter of, we hear that, when Krishna was 5, he started herding the cows, not the calves. And then when he reached the right age, he started herding, he was doing the calves, then he was doing the cows when he reached Bogunda. Like that, we hear all these things at certain ages, 5, 10, but actually he was much younger according to external measurements, 3 years and something when he Started herding the cows. 3 years old or something when he started herding the cows. And he was like 8 years old or something when he started his conjugal relationships. And obviously from a material point of view, this is impossible to visualize practically. So it's a different time factor. And from our point of view, it looks a little different. And what it is, maybe it's something like this or something, because eternal time. And then at that point, I don't know, some kind of comparison there. The different stages of growing up is given as follows. Kaumaram Panchamavdadam, I'll just read the English. The Kaumara stage lasts until the age of 5. Poganda up to the age of 10 and Kishore to the age of 15. From then on, one is known as Yogana. According to this statement, the Kishore period ends at the age of 15. Okay, so it says it here actually. Krishna was only 11 years old when he killed Kamsa. So we hadn't even reached what would normally be, practically speaking, he hardly reached Kishore age, practically. 11 years, from the earth years, it appeared he'd been on the planet 11 years when he killed Kamsa. According to Uddhava's words, he said, like a covered flame, Lord Krishna remained there incognito with Balaram for 11 years. That's Uddhava's words. And since Krishna and Balaram never took Brahminical initiation in Brajbhumi, it was at the time of their going to Mathura that their Kaishore stage began rather than ended. So in one sense it ended in Vrindavan, but from another point it basically started in Mathura. This objection to Lord Krishna's statement in the present verse that his parents could not enjoy his Kaishore stage is based on ordinary measurement of age. Yet we should consider the following statement from the Bhagavatam. Kalena Alpana Rajashe. O King Parikshit, within a short time Rama and Krishna began to walk very easily in Gokul, on their legs, by their own strength, without the need to crawl. Sometimes we see that the son of a king, even while in his Poganda stage of life, undergoes exceptional physical growth and exhibits activities appropriate to a Kaishore. Sometimes kids do, they show these signs, especially at university. What was his name? Ravi Gupta, wasn't it? Ravi Gupta? What's his name now? Radhika Raman, I think. Radhika Raman. A genius, an Indian boy, lived in Boise in America. And he was genius, he and his brother. I think he got his master's when he was 18 or 19, master's degree. He was just like 5 years ahead of everybody else, in his capacity. A genius, educational genius. Then what to speak of Lord Krishna, whose exceptional growth is established in Vaishnava Toshini, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Ananda Vrindavan Champu, and other works. The 3 years and 4 months that Lord Krishna stayed in Mahavan were the equivalent of 5 years for an ordinary child, and thus in that period he completed his Kaumara stage of childhood. The period from then to the age of 6 years and 8 months, during which he lived in Vrindavan, constituted his Pogunda stage, and the period from the age of 6 years and 8 months through his 10th year, during which time he lived in Nandishwar, or Nandagram, constitutes his Kaishore stage. That's nice. Interesting. In Kaumara stage, he was basically in Gokul. And his Pogunda stage, he was basically in Vrindavan, and Kaishore age in Nandagram.
Yeah.
3 different dhams.
Yes.
For 3 different purposes. I mean, predominantly, although the demon killing everywhere, never stopped, but in Gokul, mainly it was relationship with his parents, mainly. Childhood. And then it's mainly with his friends in Vrindavan, especially killing demons. But mainly with his friends in the pasturing grounds and so on. And in Vrindavan, in Nandagram, it was conjugal was coming, more prominent. At the age of 10 years and 7 months, on the 13th lunar day of the dark fortnight of the month of Chaitra, he went to Mathura, and the next day he killed Kamsa. Thus he completed his Kaishore period at age 10, and he eternally remains at that age. In other words, we should understand that from this point on, the Lord remains forever a Kishore. Thus, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur analyzes the intricacies of this verse.
Yeah, I read something like this in the Bhakti Rasamrita Bindu, translated by Bhanu Swami. He is planning scientific, clearly this, that our actually Krishna in advance was manifesting the Poganda, was like 3 years and Kishore before that. Like here, same.
But he remains ever at that stage, that the pinnacle of Kishore stage. Krishna remains ever like this, ever youthful, Navayovana. It's not just Yovana, which means youthful, but he's Navayovana, ever youthful. He remains always at that point. And human beings, they all like to think, they wish I could do that. Isn't it? Most people wish they could stay ever youthful, isn't it? They want to try to relive their youth sometimes and try to make themselves youthful again. Normal. But that's not the case in the material world. That's why this world is an incompatible place. On the spiritual platform, it's incompatible because we're eternal spirit beings. We're identifying with a temporary physical body. That in itself is number one incompatibility. And that incompatibility, so many incompatibilities are there. We think we own this, that, and the other. Well, we don't own this, that, and the other. There's incompatibility there. We're spiritual beings. We're trying to love physical bodies, basically, or physical minds, subtle minds. That's, in one sense, if one's a pure devotee, it can be seen in relationship with Krishna, but from another point of view, it's another incompatibility, because you can't. You know. And what is the body anyway? You heard what it was yesterday. I think we read something about that yesterday. Yeah. And we're trying to love it, trying to enjoy it. Right? It's incompatible to the soul. The desire to enjoy is not incompatible, but the method, or let's say the object of our enjoyment, is incompatible. To enjoy a lump of flesh, whether you eat it or try to enjoy it in other ways, is incompatible to the soul. It's against the soul's interest. Deprived by fate, we could not live with you and enjoy the pampered happiness most children enjoy in their parents' home. Krishna enjoys it. Here Lord Krishna points out that not only did his parents suffer in separation from him and Balaram, but the two boys also suffered in separation from their parents. Naturally, of course. That's another topic, of course. In terms of let's say, not being manifested there in Mathura or Dwarka at that time. They appear to have disappeared into Vrindavan, but they merged into the Vrindavan forms of Krishna and Balaram. And they were residing there in Vrindavan very happily, but that aspect of them, that Vasudeva aspect born of Devaki and Vasudeva, occasionally came into action. It's said that through the limbs of Vrindavan Krishna, Vasudeva Krishna killed the demons. Krishna didn't kill the demons. Vrindavan Krishna, Vasudeva, Mathura, Dwarka Krishna killed the demons. Vrindavan Krishna doesn't have any business killing demons as such, although it appears like that, and they do have their part. They become, let's say, involved in the pastimes. They have their purposeful part. Krishna can, everything's within Krishna. All the various avatars, they're all possessed. And any time Krishna can manifest himself as Kurama or Vatma, Matsya or Nrsimha or any of the various forms. It's not like they're different people. They're just different moods. So Krishna can manifest those moods at any time, and the form automatically appears to manifest. Next verse. With one's body, one can acquire all goals of life, and it is one's parents who give the body birth and sustenance. Therefore no mortal man can repay his debt, to his parents. Oh boy, time flies, huh? Even if he serves them for a full lifetime of 100 years. No one can repay their parents. But from a material point of view, this is a fact. Of course, it depends. I mean, we're talking here in terms of, you could say, the proper relationship, proper behavior of the parents. Parents often ignore their children. Oftentimes they leave their children. Oftentimes they exploit their children, mislead their children. Different things may be there, but imagine a situation where the parents are performing their duties nicely, giving the child what they're meant to get. The child is definitely protecting the child from a baby up, then helping the child with their education or their occupation and so on. They've served the child with the intention the child would become a self-sufficient, so to speak, adult. So the adult, the child then becomes naturally indebted to his parents who spent much of their life nurturing. The husbands working hard so that the children can be provided with their needs. So naturally one should feel indebted, grateful, indebted to the parents. And it's expected, especially in Asia, it's expected that the children will financially and physically look after the parents. A thing which also doesn't take place so much nowadays. Is it? Not so much. Not so much. Sometimes, but not much. They put them in old age people's homes. Things like that, you know. It's not, that personal relationship is not there like it used to be. Having stated both you, our parents, and we have suffered because of our separation, Krishna now states that his unbalanced religious principles have been spoiled by their failure to satisfy their parents. The laws of Manu, laws of karma and so on. The one that's supposed to do this is, even from the, let's say, the here and now platform, if you don't look after elders when needed, there's a whole system of whose responsibility it is, then the good chances are that you will also not be looked after when you're old. It's karma works like that. So we're obligated to the demigods, we're obligated to animals also, provide various items, milk, for instance, from the cows. We have a debt to pay. We may pay with cash, but still, these debts are there, the demigods, the forefathers, society in general, and so many people. We're indebted to them. And how to pay that debt? What's that famous verse? How did it go? I used to know it, more or less. I've forgotten it now. Devashi bhutatmaninam petrinam nakinkaro something vinayacharajam. Anyway, the one who dedicates themselves fully to the service of Krishna or Vasudeva Krishna, one who dedicates themselves fully to the Lord's service is no longer a debtor to the family members, to demigods, to people in general, to anyone else come to that. Because they completely surrendered to Krishna. Find the verse, let's read it.
This is 11th canto, 5th chapter, 41.
Can you read the English? Read the English.
Anyone who has taken shelter at the lotus feet of Mukunda, the giver of liberation, giving up all kinds of obligation, and has taken to the path in all seriousness, or nay, English better.
Not always neither duty nor obligation to the demigod, sage, general living entities, family member, humankind, or forefather. Such obligations are automatically fulfilled by performance of devotional service to the Supreme Personality.
Yeah. Yeah, so we can't use this as a, you could say, as a complete justification for being callous or ignoring others in this world necessarily. On the level of our devotional service and how it affects our preaching, and so many things need to be taken into account. But in principle, yes, one is fully surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, automatically pays all the debts, just like a man or a person who has many debts: electricity, water, gas, this thing, that thing, to pay. But if he personally, well, I don't mean, this is kind of not, you could say, not such an honest example, but if you're a personal friend of the president, he can just kind of like put them all aside. Or if you're a very personal friend, you might just pay the money to the president and he deals with it. So by serving Krishna, it's like, the demigods are all serving Krishna. Everyone's meant to be serving Krishna. So through the process of devotional service, automatically, you're paying your debts in this material world. A son who, though unable to do so, fails to provide for his parents with his physical resources and wealth, is forced after his death. This is a pretty heavy statement. Forced after his death to eat his own flesh. A son who, though unable to do so, fails to provide for his parents with his physical resources. This is in normal society of Varnashram. A son who, though able to do, we did it. A man who, though able to do so, fails to support his elderly wife, chaste wife, young child, or spiritual master, or who neglects a Brahmin or anyone who comes to him for shelter, is considered dead though breathing. Are there any purports to these verses? That was text 7.
7, there is purpose, yeah. Krishna says, one who doesn't support Abhibhrat, his mother, father, and other, without living, is considered dead. Almost same.
Thus we have wasted all these days, unable as we were to properly honor you, because our minds were always disturbed by fear of Kamsa. When we're in fear, we're always disturbed. Fear. Because Kamsa was also disturbed. He was also very fearful of Krishna. Krishna wasn't fearful, but he's speaking like this. Lord Krishna continues to bring Vasudeva and Devaki back to their normal parental feelings toward him and Balaram. Naturally, an ordinary person or a child will be fearful of a dangerous object or person. Krishna doesn't fear anybody. Why does he need to fear a Kamsa? Nothing for Krishna. An ordinary child would be afraid of a cruel, tyrannical king like Kamsa. And Lord Krishna here plays the part of such a child, and thus evoking the parental sympathy of Vasudeva and Devaki. I'm going to have to finish now. I'm not just getting tired, but we have to tidy things up tonight with the books. Unfortunately, Danatai is leaving us tomorrow. We've got to get the books ready for his journey. He's going to carry 100 kilos of books back to Paris tomorrow. We've got to get them ready. You're going to wear 4 sets of clothes, right? Put all your clothes on. Some people do that,
One was
and they have pockets, Some people do that. They put all their clothes on as much as they can. Save money, but we don't need to do that. Not necessary. Just relax. We do have to pack your bags or something. Find out what we've got. We have to count the books as well. Maybe some of us can bring the boxes in now. We can start counting the books. Here's some practical service here. I won't call it as bhakti yoga, but counting books, putting them in the right places, getting them ready for the book marathon. 2 boxes, 3 boxes, I don't know. 4 boxes. Please, if you have the arms and the muscles, please bring them in. Any comments or questions while we're waiting? I'm going to put my computer. I have to tick it off against the order. Put it on the floor down there. Move this little table. We've got to cut the boxes open. Move a few things off the floor. Put them down there.